So another aspect of this Byzantine Empire discussion that we have to talk about is the spread of Byzantine culture and Eastern Orthodox religions. In the 9th century, all Christianity, whether Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox, all Christianity sees missionary activity as an important function of the church, sending religious figures out, religious leaders out into new lands to try to bring people into the fold. In the 9th century, two priests within the Byzantine Empire named Cyril and Methodius. I believe there's a church on like 19 and Ryan called St. Cyril and Methodius. You guys might have seen that somewhere along the lines. Cyril and Methodius will be sent out from Constantinople to push north. It's like method, Ius, Methodis, Ius. And they will spread the Eastern Christian faith into southern Russia. They devise a writing system, which becomes known as the Cyrillic alphabet after St. Cyril, Cyrilic. They devise a writing system known as the Cyrillic alphabet, which is going to help the Slavic language be put to a written language, and that's going to aid in the spread of this faith. Yes, sir?
So you're saying that the missionaries helped to organize the Russian language?
Yeah, the Russian written language.
Can I just make a little point?
Yeah.
That Vietnam before the French and China didn't have unified language, they just spoke Chinese.
Really?
So when the French missionary came here, they didn't speak Chinese, so they made up the Vietnamese language, Latinized, and that's what the language used today.
Oh, no kidding.
French-based Latin.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Very interesting. So Cyril and Methodius are going to be a great example of religions spreading culture. Because of the religion, now we have a written language. And once you have a written language for a society, what comes next? Well, now there's writings, and there's histories, and there's, people thinking about various issues and writing them down, and maybe challenges to authority that could come further down the road. We also are going to talk about the development of Kievan Rus, based on the city of Kiev, which today is the capital of what country?
Ukraine.
Ukraine, very good. Kiev is the capital of Ukraine. Kievan Rus is Kiev is a city that is going to grow because it's on like an important hub of some trade routes from Scandinavia. This part of Europe is called Scandinavia. From Scandinavia down into the Byzantine world. All right? So there's trade routes that are connecting the Byzantine Empire all the way up to Scandinavia. You guys can see that Kievan Rus is like right in the heart of that. So we're going to have a state established within that region. Over time, it grows into a relatively powerful monarchy. We read about Vladimir I. Here he is. Obviously, after he had adopted Christianity. He converts to Eastern Christianity. After Vladimir, like you guys read at the beginning, after evaluating other religions that he could have chosen. And just like we see down in the Byzantine Empire where the emperor has the authority to choose religious leaders, we're going to see the same thing established in Kievan Rus, where the king of Kievan Rus will be allowed to appoint church figures. And this is the beginning of what is known as the Russian Orthodox Church. So it still practices a similar faith as the Eastern Orthodox Church, but it's going to be up in Russia. And their language is going to be Russian, not Greek. This will become, over time, the largest political entity in Europe around the turn of the first millennium. So bigger than anything that's going on in Western Europe or anything like that. All right? Over time, especially with the expansion of the Mongol empires, and the constant threats on the borderlands. But ultimately, in the 1200s, invasions from outsiders, like the Mongols, will bring this Kievan Rus to an end. And as I said the other day, if your empire is falling around the year 1200, it's probably because the Mongols have come in and taken you over. All right? In a later date, we'll spend an entire day talking about what the Mongols are up to, but that is not for today. Except one note. In your book, they talked about the Mongols going into Kievan Rus being called Tatars. Tatars. Those are Mongols. Those are Mongols. Tatar or Tartar. These are different words that are used for the Mongol hordes that are invading. Anybody ever hear of a dish called steak tartare? Familiar with steak tartare? What is steak tartare? It's basically like really, really, really raw steak. Very tenderized, but very, very raw steak. With the idea being that in its earliest days, the Mongols would prepare some of the meat that they would eat by putting it under their saddle and then riding for a couple hundred miles. And that would just tenderize the meat so you could like chew it and eat it well, but it certainly would not be cooked.
That's great.